Chapter 400, East Region Saint Mansions. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. The sword heart pill was put in a thumb-sized jade elixir bottle. Zhang Yuochen opened the lid of the elixir bottle. With a swishing sound, a white light sword flew out of the bottle. It was not a real light sword but a stroke of the pill spirit. Zhang Yuochen immediately closed the lid and tightly held the bottle in his hands. I have reached the heart integrated into sword. The sword heart pill is not much of a use to me now. Who should I give it to? Seek Singkong and Chang Kiki did not practice the sword technique, so he could only give it to Huang Yanchen and Duanmuk Singerling. Duanmuk Singerling was the saintess of the moon-worship demonic sect. If she wanted a pill like sword heart pill, it would be very easy for her to get one. Huang Yanchen's mother was a half-saint who practiced the sword technique. It was also not hard for her to get a sword heart pill with her power. However, Huang Yanchen's mother must have some considerations in mind and would not give the sword heart pill to Huang Yanchen right now. It was because that Huang Yanchen was still far from the realm of the heart integrated into sword. Even if she swallowed the sword heart pill, she would still not be able to reach the heart integrated into sword. After some thoughts, Zhang Yuochen decided to give the sword heart pill to Huang Yanchen. Even if it could not help her reach the heart integrated into sword, it would greatly increase her realm of the sword technique. Zhang Yuochen left the courier station of Marshall Market with the sword heart pill in hand and headed towards East Region Saint Mansions. East Region Saint Mansions was not just a mansion. It consisted of 360 mansions, big and small, and they covered the entire East Region Saint City. It was said that there was an array platform at the bottom of every Saint Prince's mansion. If 360 array platforms were all activated, they could start up the big array of circulation covering the entire East Region Saint City. In the 7th district of Jinhong Mainland, there was also a Saint Prince's mansion located in Lake Jiangyu. One could find it if he just made a few inquiries. There were many younger generations in the Chins. Almost all the most outstanding talents lived in the Saint Prince's mansion of Lake Jiangyu. Lake Jiangyu was vast and boundless. It was said that its broadest part was 400 kilometers. There was a large number of islands dotted around the lake. Resplendent and magnificent pavilions, palaces, high towers and martial arts arenas were built on the islands. Looking at it with a glance, one would feel that it was like the land of the immortals. The gate of the Saint Prince's mansion was about 33 meters tall. Giant Kalin statues stood on each side of the gate. They looked as fierce as if they were alive. There were 16 sergeants, 8 on each side guarding the entrance to the Saint Prince's mansion. The 8 people on the left side were all 3 meters tall. They had massive human bodies, but with a wolf's head above each of their bodies. They were of the Phylican tribe. Every one of them was in the heaven realm. Although the 8 people on the right side had human looks, their bodies were even bigger. They were all 4 meters tall with the giant's blood running in their bodies. They had natural divine power and could tear apart a brute elephant with their bare hands. With 16 powerful sergeants guarding Saint Prince's mansion, who dared to get close to the gate? Who is it? A sergeant of Phylican tribe who was in the advanced stage of the heaven realm looked at Zhang Yuochen who was still far away. He picked up a weapon and took a step forward. He roared, and the sound wave was so loud that it sent the sand and rock flying. Zhang Yuochen was calm. He walked forward and came to the outside of the gate. He said, "I am Zhang Yuochen and I am here to visit Huang Yanchen. Please send my message." The sergeant of Phylican tribe sized up Zhang Yuochen for a while. His voice was loud and rough. "Do you have the token of East Region Saint Mansions?" "No," Zhang Yuochen replied. "No token? Why should I report it for you? Get away from here quickly. You shouldn't be here." The sergeant of Phylican tribe said rudely. As a member of East Region Saint Mansions, even if he was just a sergeant who guarded the gate, he had a very high status. So the sergeant of Phylican tribe was cold and arrogant. He did not want to talk more with Zhang Yuochen and sent him away directly. Zhang Yuochen slightly frowned but he was not angry, because he knew that the more powerful one's influence was, the more rules it had. If you did not have high status, even a doorkeeper wouldn't look up to you. How would he pass the message for you? While Zhang Yuochen was going to leave, a dozen of young students came up to him from the distance. They were all geniuses of East Region Saint Mansions. Some were handsome men, and some were beautiful women. They were holding the latest Eastern Region report and discussing something. The person who defeated Bukion-fan was actually the young master of the Black Market Excellence Hall. I wonder what kind of person Yi is. No matter how powerful Yi is, he was defeated by Budo Emperor's descendant, Zhang Yuochen. Genius appears one after another. Bukion-fan, Yi, and Zhang Yuochen are all incredible and outstanding talents. We still have a lot to catch up. Suddenly, Chen Danzu raised his head and looked at Zhang Yuochen, who was in the distance. He laughed out loud. Ha ha. What a coincidence. That is Zhang Yuochen. Weren't you all were suspecting his strength? You should go and challenge him right now. If you can win, you can be featured in the next Eastern Region report. Chen Danzu was about 20 years old. He was extremely handsome. He wore a silver-colored martial robe which made him very chivalrous. Zhang Yuochen had very sharp hearing. Although the group's conversation was happening about 33 meters away, he could still hear Chen Danzu's voice, so he spared a glance at him. Hey, this man looks very familiar. Zhang Yuochen recalled for a while and finally remembered. 2 years ago, he had met him once in Sword Technique Conference in Cayenne's Yui Commandery. His name should be Chen Danzu. Was he actually a member of the Juns? In a very short moment, a dozen of young students of the Juns were 10 steps away from Zhang Yuochen. They were all looking at him curiously. Among them, almost all of the male warriors were driven by war intent. They were eager to have a try. On the other hand, Zhang Yuochen was confused. He did not know what had happened. Chen Danzu smiled and cupped his hands. He said, Brother Zhang, do you still remember me since we parted in Cayenne's Yui Commandery? I certainly do. Zhang Yuochen cupped his hands too. He said, at that time, I didn't know that you were actually a young master of East Region Saint Mansions. Chen Danzu said with a smile, I was ordered by the elder of my family to handle some affairs in Cayenne's Yui Commandery. It was destiny that we could meet. Unexpectedly, you have become an outstanding talent whose name became famous in the entire Eastern region within 2 years. Congratulations. At this very moment, a man of about 20 years old stepped up from behind Chen Danzu. He had a hawk nose and sharp eyes. He said, I am Chen Danren, a young student of the Juns who ranks 12th. Zhang Yuochen, would you accept my challenge? Zhang Yuochen was a bit shocked. He looked at Chen Danzu with confusion. Chen Danzu laughed and said, my 6th brother is a warlike. He wants to fight with any young masters. He just saw the Eastern Region report and knows that you have defeated the young master of Black Market Excellence Hall, Yi, so he can't help but want to challenge you. If you don't mind, please spare him some moves. Chen Tanren was not happy. He said coldly, Tanzu, you boost others' morale and being too humble yourself. After all, I am top 20 among the masters of the Juns. I have reached the dawn state of the heaven realm. If I strike out with my full strength, I may not lose to him. Although he is talented, he is still too young. Chen Danzu said with a smile, 6th brother, Brother Zhang defeated Yi, who defeated Bukion-fan. If I am right, you have fought with Bukion-fan once. He was 2 realms lower than you and defeated you with only 7 moves. A young genius girl of the Juns with a ponytail laughed. 6th brother, didn't you see Saint Lady's command of Zhang Yuochen at Eastern Region report? Saint Lady said that Zhang Yuochen is one of the 6 young kings in the younger generation in the Eastern Region and he has the talent to become a saint. Chen Tanren's face did not change. He said coldly, although Saint Lady governs Eastern Region report, and she could reckon nature's mystery and write about big events under the sky, that doesn't mean what she says is always right. As long as I can defeat Zhang Yuochen, I can be on the next issue of Eastern Region report. The young woman sneered, you don't need to win. As long as you can hold him back for 10 moves, I will give you the peacock pill that uncle gave to me. Chen Tanren showed smirking expression in his eyes. He said, Sister Jing, peacock pill is made from peacock's blood, and it is very valuable. A warrior would be able to grow a pair of peacock wings when he or she swallows it, which enables him to fly across the sky and go underground. Are you sure you want to bet with it? Chen Jingjing smiled. If you can hold him back for 10 moves, the peacock pill would certainly be yours. If you lose, you have to be my loyal follower for 10 days. Is that a deal? How can I lose? Tanran raised his chin. He sneered. Chen Tanran was not confident to defeat Zhang Yuochen. However, exchanging 10 moves with Zhang Yuochen shouldn't too difficult. So, Chen Tanran agreed immediately. Zhang Yuochen was feeling indifferent. He said, I don't seem to have accepted your challenge yet. As a powerful warrior, how can you be afraid of challenges? Chen Tanran did not care if Zhang Yuochen agreed. He roared and the genuine qi in his body released. Under the promotion of the genuine qi, a long black spear that was on his back flew to Chen Tanran's hands. Genuine martial arms of the 10th level. Ghost King Spear. Chen Tanran's arms shivered suddenly. The long spear drew an arch line, letting out banging sound. A cloud of cold fire came out of the spear. It brought out a stroke of icing air. Whoosh! A layer of white heavy frost appeared on the ground, covering the surrounding area about 100 meters away. Ghost King Invisible Spear. Chen Tanran took the initiative to attack. He displayed a move of spear technique of the inferior class of the ghost level. The long spear kept spinning. It stabbed toward Zhang Yuochen with cold air. With the tip of the spear getting closer and closer, Zhang Yuochen faintly heard the ghost's roaring sound. A stroke of icing air blew toward him. It was like he fell into an ice hole, and all his blood was going to freeze. He could rank top 20th among the young men in the Chuns because he was indeed not an ordinary person and deserved to be one of the top masters. He had actually practiced the martial technique of ghost level into the succeed. Zhang Yuochen finally figured out what had been going on. It turned out to be the fault of Eastern Region Report. From today on, challenges like this would surely come one after another. In this case, he should suppress his opponent with overwhelming strength. Showing his strength at an appropriate level would stop the endless challenges.